Okay, so welcome to this podcast. Today we're speaking with Timo from Cosmonauts. Hi, Timo. We wanted to talk to you ahead of next week's Legal Innovators Europe event happening in Paris. As you are the head of Cosmonauts, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your professional journey and how you got to where you are now.
Sure, absolutely. I would love to thank you for having me. We look forward to meeting you and others in Paris in person next week. So I started Cosmonauts exactly 10 years ago. So it would actually be our 10-year anniversary in September of this year as a company. As an organization, we are hyper focused on the legal technology industry. I like to explain our business in a very simple one-liner. We are building the largest in-person legal tech marketplace, and we are delivering that benefit through a portfolio of conferences. This year, our portfolio consists of 20 conferences. Next year, we are looking at 30 conferences globally with over 15,000 participants, legal professionals in attendance across. We are headquartered in London, UK, but we have other operations in places like Vietnam, Bulgaria, and South America. In terms of the spread of the portfolio itself, the largest proportion of our conferences is currently in the United States, followed by the UK, followed by mainland Europe, and the last frontier for us is Asia and Pacific. We started expanding into Europe last year with
Yes.
our first conference in Milan, Italy. And then following great success in Milan, we have now stepped foot both in Paris and Frankfurt later this year to be followed by Madrid and Copenhagen in 2027. When we enter a destination, we tend to stay. So the objective is not to just do a one-off and then move to a different destination. The objective is that we are to have that event year after year, growing it further and bringing more people to the community. As you probably have witnessed, legal technology has become increasingly popular and is seen as a requirement as opposed to an option. And for that reason, we feel that each major legal jurisdiction around the world deserves its own high quality legal tech event that's just purely dedicated to innovation. And that's why we are coming to your beautiful city next week, because we want to bring that top tier innovation talent to Paris, both from a presenter standpoint, but also from technology company standpoint. What's I assume different about this event compared to maybe some other events that are being hosted in Paris within that realm is that the event will it's an international event. So we have people coming from all over the world to that event. Of course, the predominant audience is from France. However, we have people coming from the rest of Europe. We have people coming from the United States and Canada. We have people coming all the way from Sydney to attend that conference. Hence, that event will be fully in English throughout. The event is already sold out with over 600 people having signed up for it. And we're actually confident that this is the largest legal tech event right now in Paris. We know that there are large exhibitions, which are legal exhibitions, and maybe they have some, let's say, streams that are dedicated to innovation. But just as a 2-day conference purely dedicated to innovation, based on our research, we believe that this is the largest one. So yeah, I mean, like that really it is. Like, we are looking to essentially grow the community of innovators, both within practice areas, but also within technology companies that are building in the space.
Yeah. So myself and Joy, we built a company called Form.legal, and we're proud to be associated with your event. We're also proud to say that we brought up nearly 90 lawyers to the conference.
So, what can the participants look forward to in terms of panels and what's happening?
So one thing that we consider a unique selling point for our events is that we split the conference in two. So day one is dedicated to law firm innovation, and day two is dedicated to corporate legal or on in-house legal innovation. The reason why we do this is because in the realm of legal tech, you often have solutions that are built for one or the other, or sometimes you have companies that innovate on both of those fronts. Another thing that's quite important to highlight is that we only always have a single stream content. So people are either in the main auditorium listening to a session, or they are part of the networking breaks that we have throughout the day. And what you would expect at the conference is a combination of TED style presentations, which are between 10 to 20 minutes, panel discussions, and fireside chats. And we also do a product demo on each of those days. What's quite important to highlight is that a lot of the content will be impacted by international speakers, but at the same time, it will be crafted for that local audience. So at every step throughout the agenda, we're going to have a local participant, a local contributor who essentially will be aligning with that audience. We're super grateful for your support throughout the preparation of that conference, and the fact that you guys have brought 90 plus uh, law firms to our doors. What's also quite important is that I have noticed that a lot of those law firms are SMB providers, which for us is quite exciting. And SMB is like small to medium size law firms in the sector. Those are the type of participants that you're unlikely to see at some of the very large conferences that are global conferences, whether they are taking place in London, New York City, or somewhere else around the world. And this is exactly why we are doing those conferences. We want to make this content and those technology solutions accessible to those local audiences. We want to bring, as we say, net new people to that innovation community, because maybe that's their first legal tech conference today, but that conference can spark their curiosity about what the products on the market can offer to them, and essentially, as we say, make the pie bigger as opposed to grab a bigger piece of the existing pie. And that's the reason why we tend to essentially expand to different jurisdictions, so that we make the attendance of what we consider a AAA quality conference accessible to people that may not wish to or cannot travel to some of the main big exhibitions that are happening around the world that are within that space.
That's also a reflection of the French market, which is composed mainly 90% are either solo or under 10 lawyers for the firm. So
Which is very common for the overall Central European market. Actually, it's what we have noticed. It's similar in Italy, it's similar in Germany, and other places around Europe. It really is only the UK that have this sort of large firm type of presence. So again, it is less likely that some of those mid-sized organizations will have the availability, or even sometimes like the interest to have to venture to London or to have to venture to New York, or other places. And that's why we are doing what we are doing.
we already see an asymmetry between big firms or even mid-sized firms and smaller firms in terms of AI practice, because sometimes you need a heavy investments for a real deployment within the firm. And that's why also we crafted some training programs aimed at rather small or mid-sized law firms, because it's really an issue.
It is an issue, but at the same time, the solutions are there that can support those firms. And I think that these type of conferences are the places where people can find the right solution partner for them, because not all solution partners are there having to charge big price tags to be able to essentially deliver the required innovation. And because of the nature of the profession, legal being a very interpersonal profession, those are the type of forums where trust can be built, and people can find the right partners, and also people can kind of sync in with the rest of the market and see what others are doing. So I think that there is this notion sometimes that, hey, I'm a small firm, therefore maybe those innovation providers are not necessarily interested in me, or maybe innovation is just for the big firms. That's completely untrue. Innovation is for everybody. Everybody can be benefiting equally from innovation. There is just so much technology that big firms can buy and adopt. The majority of the market is globally consistent of SMB providers. It's only a small percentage of the market that's currently serviced by the very, very large firms. Similar, like any other segment of our society, businesses, usually the majority of businesses in a country are SMB businesses. It's only a
Sure.
small fraction
Yeah.
of
So to
businesses
effect.
that are large corporations.
Yeah.
The same is true for law firms.
So to finish, where do you see yourselves in 5 years?
We want to be the largest legal tech marketplace in the world. We want to be the place where lawyers both master technology but also buy technology. We're currently relaunching our overall proposition to allow for a digital layer to what we have built as an in-person marketplace.
What do you
Next
mean
year,
by that? Have everything, I mean, fully online events?
so we're not going to necessarily have fully online events, but we'll allow for lawyers to explore solutions that are relevant to them and enjoy content on demand in our environment, and at the same time being able to see when is the next in-person event that it's close to them and that it's relevant to them. Next year we are in 18 major cities around the world. You ask me where I would like to be in 5 years. I would like to be in the 50 biggest cities in the world delivering those conferences. It doesn't matter whether that is the developed world or the developing world. We want to be in every single major city, allowing for people to learn about innovation and allowing for people to buy innovation in the easiest possible way.
How many cities do you serve? In the States, for example?
In the States, we are going to be in 11 cities next year. This year, we are in 7.
Great. Well, do you have any message for participants before we go?
My message is very simple. Be curious, talk to people. A lot of people don't realize that most of the industry is just starting that innovation journey. You're not alone in those initial steps. Just show up. Trust me, innovation is genuinely for everyone and it's not scary. Innovation is very different to what it was before. Now it's easy to deploy, it's easy to utilize, and they're very intuitive because AI has become such a big part of our day to day in the chatbots that we're using, whether that's Claude, GPT, Gemini, or whatever you're using in your day to day. Those new solutions work exactly in the same way. They're just built so that they can service the type of complex work and precision work that lawyers require.
We were talking to Frederic from Cabinet Gide about AI deployment within the law firm, and he said that AI has the best ratio in terms of deployment.
Yeah.
Exactly for that reason, it's because people are already using AI interfaces and they have this user experience in their private life. So it's much easier to deploy.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's one of the reasons why it's also a lot easier to deploy. 10 years ago, when I started, there were AI solutions, there were automation solutions, but they required a lot of manual work initially before they can start delivering impact.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's why I say, it doesn't matter if you're a one-man band or if you are a group of 1,000 lawyers. Those solutions are just as accessible, and those providers are just as interested in you as they are in the 1,000 people firm. So that's why it's so important that people go to those forums, to those conferences, see what their peers are doing, learn from each other, and then make that leap of faith forward.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for taking the time to
Well,
talk to us. And we really look forward to meeting you and
see you in a week.
seeing all the other participants next week,
We
24th.
look forward to being in sunny Paris next week. Can't wait.
See you there.
Cheers. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.